the PWCC funding. They got $175 million to expand their business offering loans. So like the pay it, I don't know exactly how to, the loans, I guess, cash advance. I think that's what it would be called. So they got $175 million for cash advance, which I think is pretty interesting. I mean, PWCC has been one of those companies that was on eBay, was, I didn't agree with all of their business practices on eBay. I mean, I thought that they could have done a better job at policing some of the shill bidding that was going on. Kind of similar to Probstein, to be honest, like where a lot of big auctions seem to be, well, shill bid. I guess that's one way of putting it. Like the auctions, you'd go into the bid history of these auctions, and it was pretty clear that the auctions were shilled up. And I guess it's kind of, I don't know. I can't imagine that these companies would be legally allowed to do something like this. Like Probstein, for example, Lamine James, I think I talked about him, or I talked about that account on a different video, but on his page, one of the memes that they always post is that there's a bunch of Trae Young cards. The Trae Young market is just getting shilled all the time. And so there are a couple Trae Young cards specifically that when they get put up on eBay, which they're consigned through Probstein, they've sold the same flawless and the same like high-end RPA like 5 or 6 times, all through PWCC, same serial number, same, grading certificate, like all of this stuff is exactly the same. And I think Rick Probstein, who is the owner of the company, the consignment company, he's gone on a bunch of different podcasts and talked about what they're trying to do to fix that. I don't necessarily know what they really can do to fix it. Like, sure, there's maybe IP banning, but it's like if you're in the market of trying to defraud an industry, you probably have some sort of a backup plan, which also which I guess I don't know. It's kind of a complex issue, to be honest, shill bidding in general. And that's not really what this is about. I'll just quickly, it's hard to really manage and figure out like how it's actually affecting cards, to be honest, because like obviously we all know that this one card, the Trae Young card or a couple of Trae Young cards are going to be shill bid, but it's like, how does that affect other cards? I don't know for sure. And there's no way to really pinpoint, to be completely honest, but either way. So PWCC, one of the kind of controversies that they went through was eBay came out and they banned them from the platform, which it really was kind of out of the blue. And I was not a fan of eBay doing that because they didn't do anything with Probstein. Like I said, I don't know if these companies I don't think that they could be doing this on purpose from a legal standpoint, because they'd be fraud. It would be a fraud type of situation. So I obviously don't think that they're doing it like they're the ones conducting this. But like if eBay is going to kick off PWCC, they need to keep it kind of, I'm not going to keep it 100. I don't know if I don't think that's a saying, or it is a saying. I don't think it necessarily applies here, but consistent. Sorry. They need to keep it consistent when it comes to their policies and what they're doing about managing the shill bidding that goes on the platform. So like I said, PWCC, they launched a vault. They've been doing a lot of premier auctions, monthly, weekly auctions. I mean, their transition, like someone coming into sports cards may not even realize, honestly, that they were on eBay before. Like it was Probstein and PWCC were the two biggest consigners on that platform. And now PWCC built their own platform, it's pretty impressive, to be completely honest, like how many high-end cards they're able to get. And now they're trying to bring in another piece of business, another kind of way. I guess I don't know what the back end's going to look like with like fees and, obviously if it's a cash advance, that means that there's going to be interest on the loans that they're giving out. But overall, I think it's really impressive that we're seeing another company within the sports card industry getting funding, of $175 million to start this business venture. I guess it'll be interesting to see sort of how they approach the marketing around this. I think InvestCard is also another company that does something similar. And to be completely honest, like I don't love the cash advance loan system of sports cards because there's so much volatility, and it feels like if you're getting into it, it can be pretty dangerous. I do think that if somebody is getting into that, they know the risks that they're taking. But at the same time, like, somebody getting in that maybe they have some sort of funding themselves. Like they're not, it's maybe not the average person. Maybe it's like the above average person that's coming in with money to buy sports cards. If they're looking at it and saying, we want to buy this card, but we don't want to spend the money, they may do this. Also, I just think, the concept and system may or may not help the industry, because if you're getting a cash advance for cards, then that means you're definitely going to be selling it. You're definitely going to be selling the card at some point. And I don't necessarily know if that's a good thing, because if, no collector, and I think everybody is a little bit of a collector in this industry, no collector is going to come in and use this system. Like maybe they're looking at it and saying, we want to, if you're a collector or something, or maybe if you are like a high-end collector or something along those lines, like maybe you're looking at this and saying, I want to buy a card that's $1 million. Let's just say, I'm going to make these numbers up, and you have $500,000 or $750,000. But over the course of the year, you're going to be making somehow that $250,000, but the card that you want is a rare card that never really comes up. Then, maybe that could be a reason why you would do it if you were a collector. But I think for the most part, like if there's going to be interest on these types of loans, if there's going to be any type of, back end money that's going to have to be paid forward along with the money that you're getting for the loan, I think it's something that could be pretty dangerous when it comes to, people buying into cards. But we'll see. I think it's going to be, like I said, I think PWCC, the platform that they've built it's extremely impressive. The cards that they've been able to sell have been impressive. Like I would say in a very short amount of time, PWCC has built sort of a repertoire for selling big cards similar to what Golden Auctions has done. I think Golden Auctions right now is probably number one. I think Heritage Auctions, to be completely honest, is probably number two. And then I would say that PWCC is probably in that like 3 to 5 range. Like I'm sure, there are other auction houses. There's like Leland Auctions. There's Memory Lane Auctions. Alt, I think, is another one that's kind of come into the fray a little bit. But I think the vaulting for PWCC and the auction house that they've been able to build is really impressive, to be completely honest. So I am going to be definitely interested to see sort of if this investment that's made ends up, if it ends up being a good thing. I think it's going to be, I think it's obviously going to be good for PWCC, but it's going to be interesting to see if like people that are buying the cards with these funds, like how quickly something like this, like at what point, like I would wonder how long they think that they can go through these funds till they get to a point where there isn't really anything left. So, I've got PWCC is obviously a company that I have my eye on, and this new kind of business strategy I think is going to be very interesting. So we'll see how it goes.